if I draw a render region, we'll see our shadows rendered for all the parts of our character. Again, shadows come off in white, which we need to invert in post. So we definitely know that our shadows are working as well. Okay, I guess the last thing that we could probably do here is to make sure that our frames are all correct. So our building we've set to only render one frame. We don't really need the default pass anymore. I can delete that because we're splitting up into passes. The casing pass, all the other passes we're basically using the scene render option, so we should be good. Terrain pass, we only really need to render a single frame. So I'll do a frame range there, frame 1 to 1. And everything else, I believe, should be okay. If we need any additional passes after this, we'll of course render them. But for now, I'm going to render off these files. So I'm going to render, let's say, from frame 19 to 263. I don't really want to deal with the frames where the character's raising the gun. I just want to have this chaotic sort of sequence of frames here. So from 19 to 263, I think is the last frame, or one of the last frames. Good enough. So when I go back into the Explorer, I'll set the casing pass to use frame range of 19 to 263, and I'll do the same for my other passes. So for my body pass, all right, let's go into the shadow pass, terrain pass 1 to 1, and the tracer laser pass. Okay, if I jump into my scene options for a moment, I also want to render at full frame, so 720 by 540. So we'll go with a square pixel ratio. As far as our aliasing goes, if I go into my renderer options, my renderer is global right now. So if I set my ray trace options up to their highest levels, or rather than doing that, set the sampling contrast a little bit lower, I should get a fairly smooth looking render. Okay, I'll save the scene one final time. I'll render all the passes off, and once they're done, we'll come in and do a composite. So I'll start the render all passes command and come back in when everything's done.